distributed the human population with this globalization kind of paradigm, which allows us to live in places that otherwise wouldn't sustain people in any great numbers, like the Western United States. So it doesn't matter, with all the tech we have available to us now, and organic / sustainable regenerative ag, you cannot produce enough food in the Western United States for the Western United States.
Wow.
So that's where we get this whole dynamic of like, okay, well, what do we do then? And then it's like, okay, well, we're not going to immediately move populations, but we could say, it makes a lot more sense to raise grains in the Midwest or in a place that has high rainfall than trying to divert freshwater resources to grow grains in an extremely arid climate, and in turn basically desiccate our entire bioregion. So it's like, maybe it is more economically, well, definitely economically, but more ecologically efficient to actually produce staple crops in other regions and ship them maybe like on light rails and things like that out to the regions that can't sustain those populations, because there's no practical way to just mass move people to more sustainable edges of the earth.
But isn't it kind of happening that way though?
It's I don't, well, where do you see that happening? You mean with kind of the local food movement and
like when I was in like Salinas, it's kind of like they have all the resources, kind of, for growing all the plantations and everything, the lettuce and everything, and they're kind of like,
we could transition, but most of what Salinas grows is not for Salinas. And same thing, like I grew up in Idaho. Idaho potatoes aren't really that much eaten in Idaho as much as Washington potatoes are. Most of what gets shipped out is, an Idaho farmer can get more money shipping their potatoes out of Idaho and get the famous Idaho potato premium, and then turn around and buy potatoes cheaper from Washington.
Okay.
It's
Wow.
not as way it is, you know. I'm not trying to judge it. It's just observing that the craziness of where we're at right now. It's and the hypocrisy of where we're at too. It's
Yeah, like environmental issues, you know, and they don't care when it happens in another country, you know.
and that's the other thing with bioregionalization. It's like bring it back here. If you're living here, we need to be aware of what's going on here and how our lifestyle here is affecting what's around us.
Yeah,
You know, and one of the fastest ways to doing that is to actually engage with the bioregion that we're living in to derive our subsistence. Because in that process, you start to learn who are the plants, who are the animals, what is, you know, the climatic cycle, what are, you know, our hydrological cycles, where's our water table. And then when someone's coming in to do something stupid
yeah,
that's going to be inherently destructive,
yeah,
people are going to be more apt to be like, hey, hold on, like, we're aware of clean water and what you're doing is how it's going to affect it.
yeah,
You know, but if we're not really tied in here, it's like I live here, but everything that I need and all the shit I look on the news isn't here. It's some other part of the world.
yeah,
And while I'm watching and going, oh, they're cutting down trees in the Amazon, like, you know, dude, and you know, 2 properties over is like clear cutting 100 acres, and
Yeah.
you know, no one's fucking paying attention. So
yeah,
it's bringing the awareness back to here,
yeah.
and in that process,
Uh-huh.
all of a sudden we start developing a unique identity too. I almost ran something. You know? That is what culture is,
Yeah.
and where it came from.
Yeah,
What makes every culture that
Yeah.
we've known and have ever heard of unique.
yeah,
It's not that they, you know, got some download from, you know, whatever extraterrestrial being that taught them these ways. Like, if you look at how people live, their ceremony, their clothing, the way they build their houses, wherever we are in the world is a reflection of adapting, of being of a place. Because when you really have to derive what you need to survive from a place,
mm-hmm,
is you build these relationships, and
Yeah.
these things become sacred.
yeah,
Corn's not just inherently sacred. Corn is sacred because it's supported. It is the primary food source and nourishment of Mesoamerican peoples that were agriculturalists.
wow,
You know, it's not like it's sacred because we need it. And this land will become sacred when we actually try to live from it and be of it.
yeah,
And in that way, it'll be like, cool, I'm not going to wear this. I'm going to wear whatever we can make here, you know, whether it's buckskins or, you know,
yeah,
weaving some fiber or something. I don't know. Making clothing's really hard.
yeah. And when you said, you know, corporations, when they take over the farms, the other day, actually, we'll talk about. Like they destroy the earth, and they have like one variety of, like, you know, plant the bananas to like
Mhm.
corn, like each one variety, like instead of like what is it, bio, like this, you said like micro,
Instead of a wide diversity. Like,
yeah,
it was saying, like, so I've done a lot of work in seed conservation.
uh-huh,
And the idea is that, you know, before 100 years ago, we didn't have a seed company. We didn't have on planet Earth.
yeah,
Every seed that was there was saved by individual farmers
mhm,
using just basic understanding of the cycles of life. And they were saved by individual farmers in regions, pre-globalization, in places where people have been farming for hundreds, if not thousands of years.
mhm,
And as living, breathing organisms, every time you plant those seeds, they're out there collecting information. And, you know, a windstorm will come and knock some over, and a rain will come through and flood some out, or maybe bugs come through and eat some. And in these populations, over time, with every season, you go out, you harvest at the end of the season, and what's there is what made it.
mhm,
And Mother Nature basically is indirectly making all these selections on the variety. It's improving it.
mhm,
Anything that's not drought tolerant will die in that system. Anything that couldn't sustain the rain of that region is going to die in that system. So every year you save seeds, it goes on adapting more uniquely to that soil, that climate, that specific bioregion, and to the practices of the farmer and the way that they farm.
mhm,
And so, you know, that over at least 10,000 years has developed millions of distinct, you know, cultivars, if you will, of what we call land races, but of varieties that are uniquely adapted to specific bioregions. And so you have thousands of different unique corn varieties and 10,000 different, you know,